Good morning, gentlemen. Today we will be talking about a new topic. We call it alternative model of personality disorder. We all know personality, the way we feel, think, act, and behave. And if there is a fracture in personality, it can fall in one of the 10 personality disorders. And personality itself, today we talk about trait theory that is called ocean, that is called Big Five. Ocean, O to open to experience, C conscientiousness, E extrovert, A agreeableness, and N neuroticism. Depending upon which quality is less or which quality is more, the different type of personality disorders are recognized. There has been a lot of debate. People are disagreeing that all personality disorders cannot be categorized. It has to have dimension because it's a continuum. There's a subtle difference between a good person to a not so good person. Similarly, from good personality to a personality disorder. It cannot be 0 and 1. There's a continuum. There's a continuum. So we will be talking about today alternative model of personality disorder. Okay. Now, as it says, personality disorders and alternative model personality disorders. We know personality, human personality really concerned with how we all are alike. Jung has said there is a common consciousness amongst all humans. There has some commonality around things. So that how we are alike, how we are like some other people, and how we emerge as a unique individual. So there's the human nature, individual differences, and our personal psyches. They are the three important things which we talk about personality. There's another theory they call unified theory of knowledge. We will be talking sometime later on. It's a dimensional approach, I say. So it cannot be, as I said, personality disorder can be one of the 10 types, but it cannot be categorized. Every person can be X, Y, Z. So there has to be some dimensions attached to these. And both he and along with the unified theory of knowledge model, there's human consciousness identifies three major domains of personality. They talk identity or ego functioning. This refers to the person's self-concept, level of identity, integration, and effective self-directedness. Next is called emotional functioning. Refers to the range of emotion a person can experience, the alignment of emotional reactivity to the situation, and the degree to which emotions can be adaptively integrated, regulated, and expressed. And third is relationship. Refers to quality and quantity of connection a person has with a particular focus on degree of intimacy, trust, empathy, and mutuality. In addition to these two domains of identity, emotion, and relationship, there is a definite need to consider context under which we work. I keep on giving examples. When I'm giving a loan, I'm surrounded by goons around there. My behavior pattern will be different. When I'm probably in my car or my scooter, if I'm accompanied by with my wife or with my daughter, my interaction, my action will be different. Because it is a circumstance which also decides. The situation is external to us, but the way we perceive the situation depends upon our own psyche, own understanding. That is what makes the situation different. Though it is outside, but the situation becomes different. We have already talked about the situation in some of the videos earlier. Now, what was the challenge to personality disorder? That is what we must know. Psychiatric nosology. Nosology means the department which did the classification of diseases. On classification of personality disorder has been challenged seeking alternative approach such as Subtypes within categories, there are the different approaches at different times. From 2000 on, we have people have talked about it. Prototypes, research domain criteria, then they call the Transdiagnostic approach, clinical staging, and hierarchical taxonomy of psychology. That the different approaches have been given to the personality disorders. All of our alternative approaches have criticized, that is what we call International Classification of Disease and Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, that called DSM categories, categorical diagnostic system. They favor dimensional classification system of evidence for continuity between normal and abnormal personalities. There's a subtle difference between normal and abnormal. And it also depends on the circumstances. Heterogeneity in personality disorder. We talked homogeneity and heterogeneity. There's a variation itself. So all personality disorder, say, take any CGP or any schizoid personality disorder, all who are suffering for this cannot afford to have the same circumstance, same behavior pattern. Next is extensive co-occurrence among. So it cannot be, a person cannot categorize only personality disorder, schizoid or schizoid. He can have anti-personality as well. So there is a overlap between the two personality disorders. Next, our diagnostic threshold, you cannot afford to put, okay, up to this, we'll accept this as a antisocial personality or some other personality. Restricted clinical ability to predict efficacy of treatment, and factor analytic studies have failed to replicate the traditional 10 personality disorder structure of personality that is invoked till date. In response to these concerns, DSM-5 personality and personality disorder work group recommended what they call an alternative model for personality disorder. Now we'll call the AMPD, alternative model of personality disorder. Alternative personality disorder combines both categorical and dimensional approach to form what they call hybrid diagnostic schemes. American Psychiatric Association Board of Trustees excluded alternative model of personality disorder from Section 2 of DSM, and which was diagnostic criteria and codes. Section 2 still includes the 10 personality disorders. They are paranoid, schizoid, schizopetal, antisocial, borderline, histrionic, narcissistic, avoidant, dependent, and obsessive compulsive disorder, as well as the personality. So these things are in Section 2 of American Psychiatric. So they are on this. Now, next, alternative model of personality was relegated to Section 3. It means emerging measures and models and disorders that require further study. They are not confident that this is what it should be. But they are not sufficiently well established to be part of official classification of mental disorder or routine clinical use. So they have put in category 3. Now, having put this, DSM-5 Section 3 contains this alternate model of personality disorder, which requires two determination. First, criteria called level of personality functioning. What is personality functioning? We'll talk in detail later on. It's an assessment of the level of severity impairment in personality functioning. So what is the level of severity if a person is suffering from any personality disorder? This is a disturbed self or interpersonal functioning. Is it only restricted to the self? In self also, it has got two criteria, the identity and self-direction. And interpersonal function, empathy and intimacy functioning. This is called level of personality functioning, LPF. Okay. So there's the first criteria. Second criteria is called criteria B. The evaluation of pathological personality traits, maladaptive personality disorder, cutting across 5 trait domains that encompasses 25 trait facets, which is required for, they call, it's a negative affectivity. Affective is numerical, cognitive, affective, and conative. Affect is heart, affect heart. So means something emotion, something related. Then detachment, antagonism, disinhibition, and psychoticism. So that the two criteria which makes it important, which must be met to be classified as alternative model of personality disorders. Third, over and above this, there another criteria, they call it criteria C. The criteria A and B, the B, impairment must be relatively inflexible and pervasive across both range of personal and social function. You say, whatever we are talking about criteria A and criteria B must be available across, in a wide range of activity which a person meets, both in person as well as in various social situations. Criteria relative stability over time, and this particular problem must persist over some period of time with the onset of adolescence or early adulthood. That is how it must be. Then only it can be categorized AMPD. Category not better explained by another mental disorder. It should be exclusive. The definition should be such that it should fall in that category itself, and substance or medical condition in which is there. And finally, an individual's development stage or socio-cultural environment in which a person lived. It is considered whether the identified criteria B, that is this criteria, all 5 of the criteria B, traits map into the any of the 6 personality disorder. He said, does this form in one of these? What schizopetal, antisocial, borderline, narcissistic, avoidant, and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Now, schizopetal, paranoid, histrionic, and dependent personality disorder are excluded based on lack of empirical evidence for their validity. Okay. Now, having talked about it, gentlemen, now, so alternative model for personality disorder is therefore includes both dimensional approach and categorical approach. Criteria A, there is severity impairment in self and interpersonal function, and severe impairment criteria B on trait function. Both these put together, they meet the dimensional criteria. And then it is categorical because determination of whether impairment LPF is present or absent, and determination of presence oblique absence of a specific categorically defined personality disorder such as borderline and other disorders are there or not. So we have met both the criteria, the dimensional criteria as well as categorical criteria. Now, for assessment of criteria A, that is, what was the criteria A? Criteria A, we have talked about it. Criteria A was level of personality functioning, LPF, level of personality functioning. The indicators are evaluated on continuum basis, means it can, they call from level 0 to level 4. So I am giving what is the dimension? Little or no impairment. See, he is a good, clean personality. That is level 0. There's some personality problem that will level 1. Moderate level personality disorder, it comes to level 2. And severe level of personality and extreme is called personality 4. So now DSM, this AMPD puts on 5 level of personality function, the functional personality function scale. Okay. Now, these are given, we'll talk next time. They are healthy, resilient. Then you got healthy neurotic, then neurotic trouble, then neurotic borderline dysfunctional, and finally psychotic disorganized level. We'll talk about these in detail next time, next day. This primarily I was talking because we have all been talking about personality disorders only. But this new approach to the personality disorder must also be understood for all those aspirants of services selection board or any other competitive examination where psychological evaluation is necessary. Just for information, or SSV type of pattern of evaluation is also going to be applicable to CAPF, as has been told by the Home Minister himself, as it is applicable to Coast Guard, and part of it is already applicable in IS or IS and IPS examinations. Hope this new approach would benefit all of us. Thank you all. We'll meet next time.